Okay, guys and gals, about 10 seconds of the obligatory disclaimer. If you want to read the whole thing, just pause the video. Okay, everybody, just a quick video on what I think is going on with the market. Obviously, huge day. I'm not going to say record day. There's been bigger ones, but this is a big day. Range of 222 right there, big day. Okay, looking at the S&P 500 futures. Okay, December contracts. The market just opened up maybe like an hour ago for the night session. Yeah, hour and a half ago. Okay. Let's take a look at these cycles. I'm going to keep this video short. We'll look at a weekly cycle, and then we'll look at the daily. Look at the daily cycle, and then the weekly cycle, and I'll talk about what I think is going to happen here. So, this cycle right here, this green one, it ends on 11:20. Okay. So for my members, I've been putting this out just about every night in the email. Okay. Which, by the way, if you want to become a member, below this video, you click the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. Then after that, you can click the join button and join. Okay. And then just go to a members video and leave a comment there on how to get on the Discord server, and I will reply with a link to the Discord server. If you're in a members video, if it's a recent members video, in the description below the video will be the Discord server link anyway. Okay. And no, you can't get on there if you don't pay. You got to pay. Okay. And then it shows you. There's a video I have that shows you how to link up your YouTube membership to the Discord server. Okay. All right, so anyway, back to the video. Right here is the low. The cycle low will be November 20th. Okay. So that's this cycle. We're talking about this cycle right here. Now, I want to just show you something right here. This is really important, okay? I'm going to show you the last three big cycles. So you understand how cycle analysis works and why I'm going to say what I'm going to say about this current cycle, okay? Current cycle is this one right here. Okay, but before I do, I want to look at the last three big green cycles. So we're looking at this one. We'll put a number 1 there. And this one. We'll put a number 2. We'll even, you know what, I'll tell you what, we'll even look at this one. Maybe. Yeah. So forget the numbers for a second. Let me just erase these numbers, if it'll let me. Yeah. There you go. All right, so we're looking at this one, and this one, this one, and the current one we're on is number 4, okay? All right, so what's going on? Let's take a look at this cycle right here, right? If you don't know what a cycle is, really simple, it's just an element of time, okay? So this cycle right here is 27 trading days. So from over here to over here is 27 trading days, okay? And that's true for each of these green cycles that I now have traced over with yellow. So let's look at this one. The price was really low over here. See this candlestick right here? That was the beginning of the cycle. And pretty much if I were to draw, and then if I were to go to the end of the cycle, which is approximately right here, if I were just to draw a straight line between those two, right through the candlesticks now, okay, what would I get? I got price going straight up the whole time. Sure, there's places where it pulls back, okay, but this is what we call a very strong cycle. The entire cycle is strong. Okay, so we'll put a B, that's bullish. Got a bunch of bull on it, right? Oh, so that's a very strong cycle. Price started low, finished high. Let's look at the next cycle. What did it do? Okay, it started here. It went up, and right in the smack dab in the middle of the cycle, it stalled. The price stalled and turned and went straight down. Look at that. Now, we call this an ideal cycle, believe it or not. It starts low, goes up in the middle, and comes back down where it started. You can almost draw as a triangle here. Okay. Very ideal cycle. Up, stall, down. Okay. So this cycle, the entire cycle, is neither bullish or bearish. It's neutral. Now, of course, you could have traded and made monster profit up on long side and monster profit shorting on the back side of this cycle, right? Okay, but I want you to understand, we're talking about the nature of a cycle. This first one is bullish. This one we're going to put N for neutral. It's neither bullish nor bearish. Net, because it almost finished right, the price almost finished right where it began. Started here, finished here. Okay, let's look at the next cycle. What did it do? Well, it had about 4 days up and then got crushed all the way down. So if I were to draw, just through the candlesticks, okay, let me get my eraser. See if I can just get rid of that, If I were to draw from the opening candlestick, ignoring all the ups and downs, just draw from opening candlestick to the finishing candlestick, which is about right there, that's just straight downhill, right? It's all the way down. So we know that this, we'll put here BL for bull. Okay, this one's bearish. This third cycle looking at is bearish. We'll put BR. Okay, so bullish, neutral, that's a transition cycle. Okay, doesn't always work out perfectly like this, but this is very educational what I'm doing here. So pay attention. Okay, so we got bullish, we got a neutral cycle, and we got a bearish cycle. So where are we got now? What's going on? The current cycle we're in, all the way up to today. What is it? Okay, y'all should be able to look at this cycle. I mean, if you just pause the video and do the same things I just did, you should know what this cycle is. If it's bearish, neutral, or bullish, neutral, or bearish. It should be obvious, right? This cycle is monster bullish. I mean, it's like a rocket ship. It's the big bull. It's got a whole lot of stinky bull on it. Okay? And it continues to look strong. The MACD pinched maybe like a week's worth of trading days ago. It pinched, and then today it gapped. The MACD gap. That's a big tell. Also, this is a little bit of unusual. Little unusual characteristics going on here with the SMI, Stochastic Momentum Index. We have a lot of divergence, but the divergence is down in the pothole, if you will, down here in the pocket. Okay? The divergence dots are showing up right in the middle of this big V. That's usually, when I see this, that's usually very bullish. Okay, if you get divergence dots that are hanging on the cusp, like here, especially together on the Big Daddy and the SMI together, and they're elevated, right? Look how high the SMI is here, way up here, right? Well above this this red line, like right near the top, right? The SMI is high, the Big Daddy's high, the MACD is high. So when you get divergence dots like this, with everything high, there's a good chance things are gonna turn and go bearish. That happened like right here, like a day or two before the big decline, and sure enough, it happened, right? The divergence dots picked up on the fact that the market was beginning to get weak, and it did. Like 2 or 3 days later, the MACD rolled over, and boom. So all kinds of goodies going on here to tell you to get ready to short side. I made a lot of money during this short side right here. It was as obvious as daylight. I mean, I made a ton of money on these candlesticks right here. Okay, but right now, this looks bullish to me. Now we do have, okay, so now that's going to kind of conclude my, giving you some education on how cycles are formed and what to look for, okay? Now this cycle is very strong, so I'm going to clear the screen. This cycle is very strong right now, okay, but we got to be a little cautious, okay? Because the MACD, the Big Daddy is sitting up above 400. Okay, but the MACD says we got lots of room to go here. This MACD right now is only at 28. Over here, guys, it was in the 90s. Okay. Over here, I think it was like 92. Okay, if I just put my mouse right there, at the peak it was 92. See that? Everybody paying attention to this circle. Pay attention to that circle right there. Okay. 92, right? That's when the MACD was getting very peaky. Okay. But right now, today, when we look at this MACD, it's just sitting at 28. It's way down here. So the MACD, just historically, we don't look at just one indicator, right? We don't trade on one indicator. But just look at the MACD for the moment here. There's a lot of breathing room above it. It's barely above the zero line. Okay. The Big Daddy is telling us, and I know this just because this is my own indicator, but it's a little bit peaky. I start seeing numbers, especially around 420. That's a little peaky, but the MACD is not, and the SMI is not. So by itself, even though the Big Daddy's saying be cautious, it doesn't carry as much weight just yet. But we'll be looking carefully to see if we get any divergence dots like that one that show up. You know, if they start to show up over here on the Big Daddy, we have to pay attention to those, okay? All right. So right now, you know, this cycle low is forecasted for November 20th. Okay, right here. And we'll just see what happens. But this cycle is so strong, as strong as this thing is, monster cycle, I mean, there's a decent chance it's going to come up and touch or go through this upper trend line. Which, you know, if I had to guess, you know, 4,100. I mean, if it happens way over here, it's going to get lower, but okay. So look, we're right around 4,100. You know, if I were just to extrapolate and go out, right? So 4,100 is possible in my mind. It's possible. Right now we're sitting at 39.65. I'm not saying it's going to get there, but it could. All right, but we can't forget this cycle low, November 20th, and right now we're on November 11th. We got to pay attention to that. Okay, even though this is a very strong cycle, don't, you know, I personally right now, because it's late in the cycle, if I were to trade this, which I'm not going to, but if I were, I would take a small position long, and I mean small. Okay, because we're only 10 calendar days, 9 calendar days away from the cycle low, and probably about whatever 5 or 6 trading days, whatever that is, maybe 7 trading days, whatever it is, okay, from this low. So that doesn't necessarily mean this price is going to drop real hard. As a matter of fact, my instincts tell me I don't know what the price is going to do, guys. Okay, I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly what the price is going to do. But what I am going to say is I could see the price starting to, you know, maybe it goes up a little bit higher, and as it approaches the 20th, it just stalls and goes sideways. It might even pull back a little bit. I mean, heck, even if it just pulled back to the bottom of this candlestick, which I don't think it will, but if it did, that is, let me get my mouse right, 37.51. Okay? That would not be a sign of weakness. Even if this gave it all the way back down, not gapped down, but filled, you know, I don't want to say fill the gap, but came all the way down and came down to 37.51, that would not be a weak cycle. A lot of people would see a big red candlestick here and get all freaked out, but guess what? It would still be strong. That would still be a strong cycle. It's going to take, right now, and I got to give a little shout out to Steve Miller because he really taught me over the last probably 7, 8, 9 years. He really taught me about cycle analysis, okay? He really helped me out. Plus some of my own analysis and my own tools and indicators that I've developed over the years have really, you know, made me a much better trader. But talking about this cycle, it's going to take a lot of work for this cycle to become weak. It's just so strong right now that even if it comes back to 37.51, it'll still be considered a strong cycle. I want everybody to get that. Okay. Even if this cycle were to have, which right now will be almost 200, be almost a little over 200 point drop because it was such a huge candlestick today. It still would be a strong cycle. So the odds of this cycle getting weak are pretty low. So what does that mean? That means this next daily cycle, which the middle there is the 8th, and over here is, I think, the 27th. Yeah, it's 27th. Okay, so this one's way more important to pay attention to. December 27th is the low for this next daily cycle over here. Okay, and right about there is about November 9th, we'll call it. I mean December 9th, sorry. December 9th is the middle of this cycle. That's a big deal. You want to really pay attention to that. There's another smaller cycle in here that does have some influence. Okay, it looks like that's around, I don't know what that is, 15th, 14th, 16th. It's around the 14th, okay? So once we get to December 9th, you want to be careful. Long positions, I would not recommend them past this date. Now, it may, you know, it may be okay. It may, you know, but I just, you know, we'll have to just wait to see what happens as we approach the middle of this cycle. What does the price action begin to do, okay? Because it may stay strong for a while. It may stay strong all the way out until, like, you know, maybe way over here in the beginning of January. We'll just have to see. But I would say as you start approaching December 9th, start paying attention to the price action, right? Start being a little bit more cautious. You might want to reduce your long position sizes. That's just my opinion, okay? So for right now, we may get a stall. We may get a price that comes down a little bit into this November 20th date. Okay, that is possible. But overall, this cycle is Monstersville, and I could see it coming up here. Even if it doesn't do it right away and kind of jaggeds around or stalls here for a while, and it may do it after it gets past this cycle low, then comes up into this line. I can't say for sure what's going to happen. But for right now, this is monster strong. Very, very strong price action going on here. Okay, so I don't think 4,100 is out of the question, which is approximately where this line is. Up here is, yeah, 40.91. If it comes in later, it'll be more like 40.70-ish. Okay. So somewhere between 40.50 and 4,100, I think is definitely possible. Okay, that's my daily. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the weekly and I'll end this video. So remember I said the end of this cycle over here was the 27th, right? That's right here. No, December 27th. Okay, so let's switch over to I'm gonna switch over to the weekly. Okay. So where's the middle of this blue cycle? This is a cycle here. These are weeklies now. So where's the middle of this blue cycle? I'll put my candle right in the middle. So what I want you to do is look down in this area. You're going to see a date show up down in here, okay? See that? December 26th, 12/26. Okay? Down there at the bottom, very bottom, 12/26. Well, guess what? That's the middle of the weekly cycle, which I'm going to show you something here in a moment, which I see it all the time. But remember, right in the middle of this weekly cycle is December 26th. The daily cycle was December 27th. So why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because let's go back just 2-3 cycles here. The middle of the cycle, what happened? Price came down and stalled. Middle of this cycle, what happened? The price peaked and then came down. The middle of this cycle, what happened? Same thing, price peaked, came down. So guess what's going to happen here, guys? The chances are high. Now this upper trend line could actually get taken out. We may see prices get up in here like this. It could easily do that. I could see 4,100, 4,200 happen. It could happen. Okay, but in any case, get ready right here or right around Christmas Day-ish, the middle of this cycle. I expect whatever price is doing, even if it's way up here, tracking side, whatever it's doing, it's going to probably stall here, begin to stall and kind of peter out and fizzle out. And then the second half of this cycle going this way, I would expect prices, it could go strong for a while, but I would expect anything past Christmas time to start looking a little bit shaky and not be quite as powerful, okay? All right, so that's that. Going back to the daily now. Okay, that's why this date over here, okay, this thing is giving me a hard time being stupid. This date over here, December 27th, right? Remember I said that? D27. That's a big deal. That's the daily low on this cycle. And it's also right smack dab in the middle of the weekly cycle. Okay. Also, this little cycle over here could really come into play. That's January 9th. And then the next one is February 2nd. And then there's one out here that's March 13th. And that would be approximately the low. March 13th would be a low to really keep an eye on. Let me just go back to the weekly one more time. We'll finish up this video. Let me just look at this weekly here. Yeah, see, March 5th. And the daily is March 13th. So that first or second week of March is a big deal. That's a low point. Okay. All right. That's my take, guys. If you want to know what I think about the price action, just go back and listen to the video again, okay? And pause it where you need to. Because everything you need to know about in my opinion, what I think the market's going to do, I've already talked about it, okay? All right, so I hope you really enjoyed the video, guys and gals. Those are my opinions about the stock market. This is my opinion only. I don't give financial advice. We'll talk to you all real soon again next time.